Bible study of the Banking Blessings Ministry. My name is Goodluck Ofebu, and this is my wife.
Ofebu.
We welcome you to the beginning of a new series. We're going to start looking at husband-wife relationships, interactions between husband and wife. We are taking up this series because this is really an important relationship. The interaction between husband and wife sets the tone for how they relate to people outside. It sets the tone for how they relate to their children. It sets the tone for what they pass on to their children, what they teach their children, and what their children carries with them as they interact with the outside world. God created man and woman, a husband and wife, as the beginning of the family unit. Like created Adam and created Eve to join Adam. And this relationship is actually at the core of human interaction, and we want to do what we can to study, to look at the Bible, to search information from the Bible, to understand how God intends for husband and wife to interact. Of course, that is a big objective. We're going to start with something we can do, and that is we're going to look at couples, real couples that are described in the Bible. Look at events in their life, how they interacted during these events, and we will follow their life to see how their interactions during events that happened earlier in their life may have affected events that happened later in their lives. Some of the events we may identify as blessings and trace these blessings to something in their behavior from earlier events, or if it leads to adversity, of course we know that even an adversity may be a prelude to a blessing. So we try to understand as much as possible. Of course, a lot of the couples described in the Bible, unfortunately, they don't give us enough detail to go through this kind of study. But fortunately, there are. In fact, what motivated us to start this study was while we were doing this, trying to look at how the Shunammite woman coped with adversity, how she responded to adversity. We found a number of specific references to interactions between the woman and her husband. And it appears that it's not just their story, that there are several other accounts in the Bible of interactions between couples. So we're going to look at these as carefully as we can. Of course, the Bible has all the information, and then to interpret whatever we can out of them. Understand how these couples ran their life and the effect of what they did. We may be able to draw some general conclusions as we go along, but the most important is really to understand what went on between the couples, the example couples that we pick. I don't know if my wife has an opening statement as we march towards this exciting series.
Yeah, like you said, it's a very wide topic. It has a lot of width and depth, and it's at the core of human interactions, and it's also at the core of what God wants to do with humanity and families. We know, one of the reasons God brought man and woman together is to bear godly children, and all that. So the family is very important to God, and the devil often attacks it. So it's going to be very interesting to see the examples the Bible has given us that we can deduce from the lives of couples, husband and wife, in the Bible.
Yes.
How these things can present solutions to everyday, or not just solutions, but become like yardstick to everyday interactions between husband and wife.
Yes.
Because I really don't want to look at husband and wife interaction as always being needing a solution or being problematic. That's not the way that God created it. But they can be signposts for how husband and wife should relate to each other. So it's going to be interesting and exciting.
Yes, and we're going to kick off the study with the Shunammite couple, as I said. We recently looked at the Shunammite woman. The focus was on the woman. In fact, the story in the Bible is focused on the woman. To find out how she responded to adversity. Then in going through this, we found that her husband was mentioned at a number of key points in the account. And we're going to look at this. The key things in their life is that they developed a lasting and close relationship with Prophet Elisha, and that through this relationship, the woman bore a son at a time that they couldn't reasonably expect a son because her husband was already quite old. We also saw the son dying suddenly, but was restored to life because of the woman's faith and persistent prayer by Elisha. We also found that through their interaction with Elisha, they were able to foresee impending famine in their area, and they relocated to another area to escape a 7-year famine. And when they came back from their relocation, from their sojourn abroad, they found their house and other property had been taken by other people. The woman appealed to the king, and this property were restored. Also, and the restoration also had something to do with their interaction with Elisha. So the woman or the family meeting Elisha turned out to be a blessing for the family all through their life. Then we want to look at their interactions to see how they behaved in meeting with Elisha and in their interactions with Elisha. And what we will find, I'm sorry, something in my voice. What we will find is that the family was based on division of responsibilities between the husband and wife. And this division goes very deep because the wife was like the spiritual leader of the family, the spiritual guard, the spiritual gateway for the family. And her husband understood this and supported her in whatever she wanted to do that is related to her spiritual leadership of the family. He supported her willingly. And of course, he took care of other things, their economic affairs, like their farm. They happened to be grain farmers. The husband took care of that. So we'll see examples of this, not only the division of responsibilities, but the trust, the reliance on each other's judgment that occurred. The wife was always respectful of the husband's responsibility, but the husband always respected his wife's judgment, and did things that she requested. As far as the Bible tells us, without as much as an argument or anything like that. Then let us move on. That's just a quick summary of what we're going to see. Everything is in two short sections of 2 Kings. 2 Kings chapter 4, a few verses from chapter 4, and a few verses from chapter 8. We begin with the encounter with Elisha. The woman went out and met. It must have been somebody giving a talk. That's the way I look at it. Somebody appeared in the city that they lived in and was talking to people and interacting with the people. And the woman happened to encounter this stranger. And what we know is that she didn't know who he was. It was later on she found out that this was a man of God. But all she really saw was a stranger and made an assessment of that the stranger needed somebody, a place to sit down and have a meal and maybe catch his breath or something. And she made an offer to him. And persuaded, not just making an offer, she persuaded him to go home with her and have a meal. And of course, when they got home, the husband joined. We didn't really, the Bible doesn't say about the husband and all that, but it's his home, so he must have been there at one point or the other. But what we saw was that they welcomed Elisha well. Of course, the Bible gives information from which we can deduce that Elisha felt well welcomed. He felt comfortable. He felt a pleasant. That is, sharing a meal with a couple was a pleasant experience for him. And the way we know this is that subsequently, whenever he came to that area, he went to their house to have a meal. Well, let us read about this one verse in the Bible, 2 Kings chapter 4, verse 8.
2 Kings chapter 4, verse 8.
Yeah. We're going to read it from the two versions, NIV and NKJV.
Okay. Yeah. So this is NIV version.
Yes.
One day Elisha went to Shunammite, and a well-to-do woman was there, who urged him to stay for a meal. So whenever he came by, he stopped there to eat. This is New King James Version. Now it happened one day that Elisha went to Shunammite, where there was a notable woman, and she persuaded him to eat some food. So it was, as often as he passed by, he would turn in there to eat some food.
Yeah, you see, this is a loaded verse. It has a lot of information, really highly condensed. It tells us the woman met Elisha, didn't know who he was. They didn't really tell us the circumstances. We know Elisha was a man of God and he was going from place to place. So he must have been talking to people and interacting with people. The woman persuaded him to eat some food, which means she assessed that he needed to sit down somewhere and have a meal. And she made him the offer. He probably felt reluctant after all. These are, who is this woman offering her? But she persuaded him. The Bible says that both versions actually. The NIV said she urged him, and the other one, the NKJV said she persuaded him. She persuaded him, took him home, and they had a meal. But thereafter, every time that Elisha went to that area, he went to their home and had a meal. And of course, if he didn't feel, if the first one wasn't a pleasant experience for him, he would not have. He would find
if he didn't feel welcome, or if he was not comfortable, if he didn't feel he was accepted by the family, he will not keep going back there.
And the key point there is that, remember now, there's a husband that wasn't talked about in all of this. So if he went to their house and felt the husband wasn't happy or something like that, he won't go back again. Yeah, he won't go back. But he went back subsequently. So let us talk about this some more, because really, for us to learn from this, we have to interpret what is going on. Try to, obviously, not put our own too much of our own idea, but try to understand what is happening here. The husband, what I see from, based on the fact that Elisha felt welcome and all that, is that the husband must have accepted him and must have behaved in a way that showed both his wife and the stranger that he accepted the fact, he accepted his wife bringing the stranger to their home. He accepted the stranger as a friend. And the stranger felt that way. And this was only based on his wife's information. He wasn't there when his wife met the man, but his wife must have come back and said, honey, here is somebody I met, and this, that. But he accepted based on what I believe is a habit of him trusting his wife's judgment. That he trusted his wife's judgment. I mean, think about your wife just suddenly brings somebody at you. It's going to take a lot of talking and all that, and at times you may not accept. But in this particular case, every information we have suggests to us that the husband accepted this, probably didn't question. And of course, if the husband was this trusting of his wife, it must have been that over their life, the wife has protected his trust in her. That is, she has not abused it. She has. There is an interrelationship. If your wife trusts you, but you abuse the trust, then at some point that trust is going to be born. The same way if your husband trusts you and you abuse the trust, at some point that trust is going to be born. In this particular incident tells us that at least at that time, up to that point, they trusted each other. They trusted each other's judgment. The husband had no problem with the wife bringing a stranger to their home. Remember, this was a stranger. At this point, none of them knew that he was a man of God, Elisha.
Yeah, that's one remarkable thing with this particular, verse. Mm-hmm. It wasn't known to either of them that Elisha is a prophet of God.
Yeah.
They didn't know.
Yeah.
So it's something that the wife must have perceived that this man needs a refreshment.
Yes.
This man needs to be refreshed, and somehow I also see it as something under the guidance of the Holy Spirit.
Yes.
Yes. Even though she didn't know, but God was already preparing the path either for her blessing and for also taking care of the man of God. Because when God there's so much here. When God wants to use us to perform an act of compassion,
yeah, or
do something for either his servants or for his church, or there's always a blessing.
Yes.
For the doer.
Yes.
So I just think that their paths, God was just orchestrating and opening the path for it, for what he wants to be done for his servant Elisha, and the blessing for the woman.
Yes.
But it's remarkable, the husband did not know, and neither did the woman. So what you're saying is very important.
Yes.
That the husband didn't accept Elisha because he's a man of God.
No.
It's based on the trust
of his wife.
That they will trust in that relationship. And
yes.
He trusts his wife, and his wife has protected that trust.
Yes. Yes. It's his wife that met the stranger, maybe listening to him and had some assessment of him. But the husband didn't get any of that. He got his acceptance of the man is based on his trusting his wife. That's it. And of course, we use the word trust. What it is here, if you look at it, it's really like a calling. That God had placed this need for compassion, this need to help a man of God, that God had placed that in the woman's path. So it's like the woman had been called to a mission. The husband, because he trusted his wife, followed her in that mission. Without as much as just recognize, okay, if my wife is doing this, I'm with her. There is something important in it.
That's really very important.
Yes.
in today's ministry.
Yes.
Because it's not every ministry that is inside the church.
Yeah.
This woman was not a pastor.
No.
She was not a pastor's wife.
Yes.
But here she was fulfilling something that God wanted her to do
Yes.
by just the sheer calling like you are.
Yes.
Maybe she's a very compassionate person,
Yeah.
or maybe, because they say she is well to do, so she's also using that prosperity that God has blessed her
Yeah.
to attend to the needs of people.
Yes.
And it's very important here that the husband recognizes that calling in her,
Yes.
and supports her.
Support her wholeheartedly. Well, let's move on as we promised. There is a lot in here, so let's move on. Of course, Elisha kept going to their home whenever he was in that area. He shared a meal in their home, and he enjoyed their company, and they enjoyed his company. It was then that it occurred to the woman that this is not an ordinary person, that this is a man of God. But it's not just being a man of God, that the man comes to that area frequently. So, yeah, they're giving him food, they're taking him to their house and giving food, but after eating, what happens? Where does he go? Where did he sleep? So it occurred to her that there was more that this man needed, and that it was worth doing it for him because he was a man of God. This is not based, Elisha never told her that he was a man of God. It was just based on
Her perception,
the impact that Elisha's behavior made on her as a person. And then, of course, what we are interested in here really is the interaction with her husband. So she immediately, when she got this idea, she tabled it with her husband and said, look, I think this man that comes by our well frequently is a holy man of God. Let us build an attachment for him in our home. They built a room, and she called it an upper room. So she was proposing that they give shelter, essentially permanent shelter, a place that the man could call his own and will always be available to him whenever he was in that area. But they didn't have such a place. In order to provide such a place, they had to actually make a modification to their home. Now she recognized, let me not jump too far. Let's read about this first. In 2 Kings chapter 4 verses 9 to 10. Honey, if you want to talk now, we talk. But we are going to discuss this interaction more.
Okay, let's just go ahead and read.
Okay, so let's read it.
2 Kings chapter 4 verse 9, reading from New King James Version. And she said to her husband, look now, I know that this is a holy man of God who passes by us regularly. Please let us make a small upper room on the wall, and let us put a bed for him there, and a table and a chair and a lampstand. So it will be whenever he comes to us, he can turn in there.
Well, so let us see what happened here. The woman already, yes, it occurred to her that this was needed, and she believed it was something they should do, that they would be able to do it if they put their mind to it. But she recognized that it's not something, yes, it's a good idea, but she cannot just go on and start doing it. She needed to get her husband's approval. So she tabled it with her husband, and tabled it with humility. And I know in the past we studied humility, but we have to understand humility really. Yes, she, based on her experience with her husband, she expected him to approve. She most likely expected him to approve. But you could see the way she presented it, that there was no, she didn't take it for granted. That she didn't take his approval for granted. She wanted to explain it to him, and then let him willingly approve it so that they can go on and do it. So humility comes with what we call promise of obedience. Promise of obedience is, yes, I believe in this, I'm tabling it, but without saying in my attitude while I'm tabling it, shows you that if you say no, that I will accept the no. Of course, I don't expect you to say no, but there is a promise conveyed that even a no will be accepted. Of course, I'm expecting you to give full consideration, reasonable consideration. That's what happened in this case. Then you could see in the presentation, it says, please let us build an upper room on the wall. Please let us. She didn't come and say, oh, I want to build an upper room on the wall for this man, or I'm going to do this, which you think is unusual. It happens. People just take it so much for granted that they just come and announce, this is what I want to do. But that's not what she did. Of course, something in here also shows she had in her, this is something very important to her. She wasn't afraid that her husband was going to turn it down or just reject it just for the purpose of rejecting. She had this assurance that her husband will consider this in good faith. If you ask her to predict what will happen, she would have predicted that yes, they were going to do it, but she presented it to her husband first.
Yeah, like we said earlier on, there's a lot we can learn from here. She had expectation that her husband would approve.
Yes.
But she didn't take that husband's approval for granted.
Yeah.
She was still ready to accept a no. How do we know this? Because of the way she presented it.
Yes.
And one other thing that occurred to me here is God has given this woman the vision. What is that vision?
Yes.
To make a permanent dwelling place for this man of God that passes by.
Yeah.
To make a place where he can rest.
Yes.
In their home. That was the vision.
Yes. Yes.
God also gave her the blueprint. The blueprint was,
yes,
she said, by the wall, the upper room. So God gave her both the vision and the blueprint.
Yes.
Armed with this, and remember, she's a woman of substance.
Yes.
So she has everything it will take to go ahead and do that thing by herself.
Yeah.
But she didn't do that. So she took both her vision and her blueprint and submitted them to approval by her husband.
Yes.
So that's something that is very important in today's ministry.
Yes.
Like I already said, what this woman is doing here is a ministry.
Yes. Yes.
It's a ministry.
Yeah.
So it's very important in today's ministry, especially when it is we the wives that God has given the vision.
Yes.
And also, because with the vision, God gives you a blueprint
Yes.
on how to get that,
Yes.
achieve the vision, how to run with it, how to accomplish it.
Yes.
So God also, where the vision is, there is always the blueprint.
Yes.
So for us women, when we have, for us wives, when we have such, it's you need the Holy Spirit to help you.
Yes.
Because for it to really, really work, for you to achieve that, you need to run along with your spouse.
Yes.
And you can't go it alone. You don't have to go it alone.
Yes.
It's not recipe for lack of submission.
Yeah.
Let me put it that way.
Yeah.
So this woman brings this out to us, that she had the vision, she had the blueprint, she had the means to achieve it.
Yes.
And she still took it to her husband
Yes.
for approval.
Yes. I mean, this is so well said. I just want to say it again at the risk of overemphasizing it, that what my wife just explained is really so true. She had three components that she already had. One was she had the means. She's a well-to-do woman, so she could actually have ordered labor and started doing this. Secondly, she had the vision. She had a reason to believe that God had put this in her mind to do. It was a mission. The Bible didn't really put it that way, but that is clearly what it is. Then she was
The blueprint.
she had a blueprint. Yes, she had a plan of exactly what to do. There was no doubt in her mind. In fact, she even described the furnishing of the room, not just where the room would be located.
That's the plan.
There is a fourth thing. There is a fourth thing. She knew she had her husband's support in whatever she did. So if she had gone ahead and started doing this, it's most likely her husband would have gone along with it. But she still recognized that this is something, this is a decision she needed to make, she needed to share with her husband. And she needed to give her husband an opportunity to approve or disapprove. And she went ahead and presented it with humility. When God gives you a mission, remember, part of what you have to do, what you need to do is to take others with you. And in the way you present the mission to them, the way you try to bring them along with you is very important. Humility is one of the things. You don't just come and say, oh, God had told me to do this. You want to help me? Okay. If you don't want to help, we don't really teach negatives in banking lesson. The positive way is to try to make a case to the people so that they will understand what you are trying to do, and so that they will be convinced to follow you, not just because God told you, but because they believe in what you are trying to do. You've made them believe in it. So she wanted to make her husband believe in what she was trying to do. Let's proceed. Oh, there is more. It said that this is just a summary. We're not going to dwell on this more. That a call to compassion may come to a family through the husband or through the wife. What is important is that God, and this is the way God blesses mission among people, is that He chooses somebody to lead the mission. Like in this particular case, the woman was chosen to lead it, and the husband recognized it and followed. So if you are a leader, you have a responsibility to help others understand your mission so they can follow. If you are not the leader, but you are aware of the call is made in your presence, the call is brought to your knowledge in whatever way, then you have a responsibility to lend support in whichever way you can.
Proceed.
Okay, proceed. Okay. Well, the next interaction between them is when their child fell sick. We know that Elisha prayed for the woman, prophesied for the woman that she will have a child in 1 year, even though her husband was old. And then in 1 year she did have a child, and the child grew up to the point of joining his father in the field. On one occasion where he was with his father in the field, he fell sick. He complained of headache. His father sent him back to his mother. Didn't really do anything about the headache. He was taking care of reapers, people that were harvesting for them. So he focused on that and sent the child back to his mother. And his mother, when she saw her sick child sent back to her, took the child. There was no complaint. She simply cared for the child as she could. We will talk more about this, but let us read from 2 Kings chapter 4, verses 18 to 20.
Okay. 2 Kings chapter 4.
Chapter 4. Yeah.
Verse 18. And the child grew. Now it happened one day that he went out to his father, to the reapers. And he said to his father, my head, my head. So he said to a servant, carry him to his mother. When he had taken him and brought him to his mother, he sat on her knees till noon, and then died.
Well, So, what happened here? Again, is the thing we are beginning to see that division of responsibility. The husband was in the field, their child became sick. He immediately said, okay, this is the mother's department, this is the mother's responsibility. It's not just that she was responsible for looking after a sick child, but he also recognized her as the family's spiritual leader. That the person, when it came to things that required spiritual intervention, that this is the person. That is part of what the Bible, the interaction between the two people brings this division of, or recognition of leadership, recognition of responsibility. It brings it out. That's what happened here.
Yeah, I see it more as a case of responsibilities. The man was in the farm, tending to the farm as the head of the home. Most of the time, it's the man that, even though we see in Proverbs 31 woman that she also attends to things, for the family. But that does not strip the man of headship of the home. So the man was in the farm anyway at this point in time.
Yes.
Attending to things that men do. And the boy came in and then he was sick. I really didn't think there was much for him to do at that point, except to send the boy back to the mother, who would have been in a better position to attend to him at that point, because she wasn't in the farm and he couldn't do much while in the farm.
Yes. So,
this recognition of division of responsibilities, and that there's no, and really you don't have anything that is cast in stone, because sometimes we would have said, oh, but it's your child, when he was sick, why didn't you leave everything you were doing and carry him to the hospital, or carry him to this person or that person? Okay, there's no role as such that is cast in stone in a family. Sometimes we say, oh, it's my husband that does the school run, that goes to drop the children and fetch the children. And the wife will say, oh, it's my husband's responsibility to just bring in subsistence for things to maintain the family and to hold the family and all that. There's really, responsibilities are not cast in stone. God can choose to use any of the parties at any point in time. And he's sending the boy back to the mother at this time was God orchestrated. Because if that boy had died in the farm with his father, he wouldn't have known what to do in terms of that seeking that intervention by Elisha. And the Bible doesn't tell us that he would have done that, but we know that most of the interaction, like my husband said earlier on, being like a watchman over the family, the spiritual watchman, was the woman. So she immediately knew
what to do.
The Holy Spirit must have led her, what to do. So this division of responsibilities, while not cast in stone, we should also look at it that sometimes the people, the party we expect to do one thing may be indisposed to do it.
In this particular case, it just happened that the wife was at home, and for whatever reason, her husband expected her to care better
for the sick child.
And then send the child home. And of course, we can see that's not directly under our study today, but we know what happened, because when things developed in an adverse direction, the woman quickly knew what to do, and she took care.
She knew what to do, and when things like this happen, like I keep saying, responsibilities are not cast in stone. When things like this happen, we should take a step back, and the woman accepted it wholeheartedly. And therefore, the Holy Spirit was able to work in her. To, God was able to work in her in order to, propel her on what to do.
Yes.
And that's what saved, brought that child
Yes.
back to life.
Yes.
If there wasn't a wholehearted acceptance, she'll be grumbling,
Yeah.
and there'll be no room for her to do
Yes.
what she did.
Yes. Yes.
So opportunities might be things we see as responsibilities, or when it goes out of the way we look at it, or we have kind of shared it in the family. It could be,
Yeah.
it could be an avenue. It could be God positioning that family to be blessed.
Yes. Yes. Well, she has accepted the responsibility, took care of the child as well as she could, but unfortunately the child died, and she recognized quickly that she determined quickly that the child had to be brought back to life. She felt that God gave her the child, and that it's not time to take him away, and she quickly took the child to the sanctuary they built in their home, that is the room that she dreamed up and had her husband built for Elisha. Put the child there, but the interaction with her husband came next, because she needed to go and fetch Elisha. She believed that Elisha had to come back to that sanctuary to take care of the child, to bring the child back to life. But Elisha was at Mount Carmel, quite a distance away, and she needed to go there. She recognized again, she recognized that her husband had a role to play in this matter. That she needed transportation from her husband. She went to him, said, look, she needed to go and visit with the man of God at Mount Carmel, and she needed transportation in the form of a donkey and a driver. The man was worried and said, what's going on? Is everything okay? Why are you going? It's neither the Sabbath nor the new moon. Why are you going to the man of God today? And then the woman just said, it is well. She reassured her husband by telling him that it is well. You see again trust playing in the family, trusting each other's judgment. So the husband showed concern that once he saw his wife's determination to go, he provided her transportation. A donkey with a driver, a car and a driver. So that was it. And the woman went to Mount Carmel. Let's read about this. 2 Kings 4, chapter 4, verses 21 to 25.
2 Kings chapter 4, verse 21. And she went up and laid him on the bed of the man of God, shut the door upon him, and went out. Then she called to her husband and said, please send me one of the young men and one of the donkeys, that I may run to the man of God and come back. So he said, why are you going to him today? It is neither the new moon nor the Sabbath. And she said, it is well. Then she saddled the donkey and said to her servant, drive and go forward. Do not slacken the pace for me unless I tell you. And so she departed and went to the man of God at Mount Carmel.
Well, there are two things. When she requested transportation from her husband, she accomplished two things. One of them was to tell her that she needed to go to Mount Carmel and why she needed to go to Mount Carmel. She didn't really explain what it had to do with their child. We don't know that she did. The Bible doesn't say so. But she did tell her husband she needed to go to the man of God at Mount Carmel. Then she also showed respect to her husband's authority to make decisions on such matters by asking him to provide her a driver and a donkey. So the husband respected his wife's judgment and just provided what she needed. He did show concern But his wife assured him that there was no problem, that all was well.
Yeah, you just we see again the trust and understanding
Yeah.
between the two, between the couple.
Yes.
And this was something important, because if there wasn't any trust and understanding, the husband could have said, well, no, this is neither the new moon nor the Sabbath. I don't think you should go there.
Yeah.
So he could have said no. He could have withheld the transportation she requested for, and things could have gone another way.
Gone wrong, really.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it just still shows us that, between husband and wife, there needs to be that very high level of understanding and trust.
Yes. Yes.
Understanding and trust is very important.
Yes. Well, we've actually gone through their interactions. Honestly, there is a lot we could say, but we only have a limited time to present these videos. But we'll quickly mention that the family, because of the nature of the interaction, the way they interacted with each other, we could see blessings that came to them directly because of that, how their behavior affected. Like we said in our study, we look at events and then see later events and see how the couple interacted during the events and how their interactions affected later events. The later events, as you can quickly summarize, they had a son against reasonable expectation. The man was very old, so they were no longer expecting to have a son, but they did. Yeah, the son died suddenly, but he was restored to life. That is a blessing, wonderful blessing. They escaped a severe famine that hit their land for a period of 7 years, and when they came back, they found out they lost their property, but they regained everything they lost, including the proceeds from their farms. And all of this started with the woman had compassion toward the stranger, and the husband went along with her. The woman was called to compassion, and the man lent his support because he was his wife.
Yeah.
No other reason. I know.
Yeah. For me, of course, we have seen that. Yes, we can. Whenever we look at the account of the Shunammite woman, and actually this is the first time I'm seeing it. We are looking at it. Looking at the interaction between the couple, the husband and the wife.
Yes.
Whenever we look at this Shunammite woman story and the Elisha's, we look at how the woman was kind to a man of God and the blessings that came. But when we look at this, is an odd situation where the blessing, the man of God came through the wife.
Yes.
It's not a woman of God we're talking about here. We're talking about a man of God.
Yes.
The man came through the wife.
Yes.
And the husband of the woman had to support.
Yes.
It's something that's a bit odd.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
But even in the oddity of it, we can see that the man's reaction and the woman's behavior were instrumental to even them getting the fullness of the blessing that God had in it.
Yes.
Because if anything went wrong with the trust or the man's behavior, a lot of the story we're telling today would not have happened.
That is true.
Okay? And then you look at from the woman's side, she is a spiritual watchman over that family.
Yeah.
Okay? But yet the man was not intimidated by that. He wasn't intimidated by that. And therefore it was easy for him he wasn't intimidated. And the fact that the one was the spiritual watchman did not strip him of his leadership and authority.
No.
As the head of that hall.
Yeah.
So it was easy for him to flow.
Yes.
So how we behave as women when God has given us a calling, is very important.
Yes.
In how
Yeah.
our husbands, identify with
Yeah.
that calling.
Yes.
Because we have to balance it with who they are, who God has created them to be.
Yes.
Okay? So this is really something that's it's very easy for when the man has a calling, the woman, it's very easy for you to flow and go along.
Yes.
But when it's the other way around, we have to be very considerate and very careful how we handle it.
Yes.
The other thing is that this woman, we never heard that the man was very wealthy. One version said she's a notable woman.
Yeah.
Another woman said, another version is that something like prominent or something.
Yeah.
But we get it that she was a prosperous woman.
Yeah, she was
notable.
well-to-do. Yes.
She was well to do. So, with all this being well to do, she still gives in and submits to her husband.
Yes.
It doesn't make her take decisions by herself.
No. Yeah.
It doesn't make her. So to me, that's a recognition that, hey, whatever I have, God has blessed this family through what I have by giving me the prosperity as a woman.
Yes.
So we should stop seeing it as my, I am wealthy, I am, it's for the blessings of the family.
Yes.
So it shouldn't make our spouses, make us look down on them. It shouldn't make us think that they no longer have the headship of the home.
Yeah.
It's very important because she could have, look at when she requested for transportation.
Yeah.
For all intent and purpose, part of her, what she had may have gone into acquiring those donkeys.
Yeah. Yeah.
But she still said, please send me a driver and
a
donkey. A donkey. She didn't go to the driver and said, hey, can you prepare a donkey? We are going to so and so place.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then leaves the man wondering, where is my respect in this place? Where is my authority in this place?
Yes.
So those are things that are very important because it brought along her husband's agreement.
Yes.
Which is important. It's a very important principle, spiritual principle. The two of them must agree.
Yes.
When the husband and wife are in agreement,
yes.
One can put 1,000 to flight.
Yeah.
Two will put 10,000 to flight.
Yes.
So that agreement between the two of them in everything they wanted to do was very important.
Yes. Yes. Well, this is very well said, and we've really, I pray that whoever comes in contact with this study will learn something from it that will make him a better husband or make her a better wife. Because the interaction between husband and wife is key to well-being of a family.
Even receiving from God.
Yes, it's key to well-being. As you can see in this couple, it was their good, the fact that they worked well together, even when it was coming from, clearly it was coming from the wife, but each time she found a way to make an acceptable case to her husband, and her husband had a very good ear for her wife,
and
for his wife.
Make it look like his own initiative.
Yes, yes.
By bringing it to him and say, let's do this.
Yes.
Please send me a driver. So the man cannot say, oh, I didn't tell you to go to Mount Carmel.
Yeah.
You gave me the driver. You gave me. Do you understand?
Yes, yes.
So she always found a way to bring it back to him, even though it's her vision.
Yes. And it worked so well, and you could see that they were abundantly blessed because of this. And accounts like this in the Bible are not put there by mistake. They are really there to teach us, and there are so many things we can learn. As we just found out with the Shunammite woman, the Shunammite couple, as we call them now, there is so much you can learn. We thank you for participating with us. Thank you for joining us in our Bible study. And we remind you that all the studies we've done in the past and all of the ones we will do in the future are available at the website bankingblessing.org. Thank you for joining us, and what you learn from our website, from our program, bring you closer to God's purpose for your life. Thank you, and God bless you.
God bless you.